Okay, so everyone, welcome to Kailul Kol Shira in partnership with Breslov.org. And
recording in progress.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, and let us discuss this idea of this parsha of Balak, and what an incredible parsha it is, and it's something unique that you don't find in all of the Torah. And let's talk about that for a moment. The thing that's so unique about Parshas Balak that you don't find in all of the Torah, you don't find any Jewish representative or anyone that's telling over the story, that saw the story, that knows of the story, or anything. No one knows. It was only Hashem that gave Moshe Rabbeinu, he gave him the information of what was going on behind the scenes with this diabolical monster, Bilam. He was really a diabolical monster. And let's talk about him for a moment. On one hand, we could say that he was a diabolical monster, but on the other hand, it also says that he knew Das Elya, that he knows the way of Hashem. That's fascinating. I mean, Rashi says on that idea, right? That what? Let's see here. Yodea das Elyon lechavein hashor shekoyes Hashem. He knew how to be mechaven. He knew how to tune in to when HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, was that hour of din, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be judging Klal Yisrael, judging the world, and he knew how to tap into that, and he knew what that time was. Fascinating. Not only that, the Medrash says about Bilam that he was able to make, so to say, an appointment with Hashem when he wanted to speak to him. He was able to make an appointment where it came to Moshe Rabbeinu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to Moshe Rabbeinu at any given time. That's one of the reasons why Moshe Rabbeinu wound up divorcing his wife, because he had to always be pure. He can never be unpure, because any given time Hashem could make his appearance to Moshe Rabbeinu. He has to be awake. He has to be ready and pure. But let's understand something else in the parsha, where Balak, which was the king of Moab at the time, right? The Torah tells us, right? And he was worried, that the same way he saw what happened to the Amorim, where the mountains came and squashed them, and he saw that Klal Yisrael had a very, very, very small but very powerful army, right? The Medrash tells us that we had 12,000 soldiers, 1,000 soldiers from each one of the Shvatim, which gave us 12,000 soldiers. But he was scared. He was scared to go to battle with us. So he decided he would send his emissaries to find Bilam. It's fascinating. What did he do? He looked them up on Google. I mean, what did he do? He looked them up. I got to curse the Jewish people. So let's see. Oh, the first one that came up was Bilam, right? Bilam.com. Right. So he called up. He found Bilam. Fascinating. And he sends the emissary. He sends his people there, and they came with their summon biyadav, right? What did that means? They had their witchcraft toys and their incantations and all of the tumah that they had with them. And they came to Bilam, and they said, Bilam, we're here. Balak sent us, and we need to hire you to curse the Jewish people. So what happened? Bilam tells the Jewish people, it tells the emissaries of Balak, I have to ask Hashem if I get permission to go. Sounds like a pretty good guy, right? He has to ask Hashem, because he can't do anything without Hashem's without Hashem's okay. If Hashem doesn't give him an okay, he can't do anything. Fascinating. So what happens? He asks Hashem, and Hashem tells him, you can't go. Why? Because you can't curse the Jewish people, because the Jewish people are blessed. Wow. So what does he do? He gets up in the morning and he tells the emissaries of Balak, I'm sorry, I can't do this. Hashem didn't give me the permission, so I can't do this. But now what happened? They went back to Balak, and then Balak sent them back and offered to offer him money. The first time he didn't offer him any money, but now Balak sends them back and now offer them money. Offer him money. Gold, silver. So something strange happened. The second time, when they came to Bilam, and they offered him the house of gold and silver and all of that, the riches, and he said, I have to ask Hashem. And the second time, Hashem says, you can go. He doesn't say you can curse them, but he says you can go with them. The first time Hashem said you can't go because they're blessed, and the second time Hashem says you can go. So what changed? What changed between the first time and the second time? So here's a beautiful thought that I saw. I came up with this with many different svarim. This idea that to understand like this. You know, it's something when we do something lishma, right? When you're doing something lishma, you're doing it with the full intent, and you're doing it with the right. You're doing it for the sake of the right purpose solely, totally. So that's very, very powerful. Anytime we do something, we do lishma. If we do any mitzvah, we do it lishma. Whether we give tzedakah lishma, whatever we do lishma, is very, very, very powerful. So the first time the emissaries of Balak came, and they asked him to curse, Bilam, out of his hatred to Klal Yisrael, was willing to go and do this on the house for free. He hated Klal Yisrael so much. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no, the Jewish people are blessed. You can't do this. I won't allow you to do this lishma. So what changed? The second time, he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid if he goes with the emissaries of Balak. If he's going to get paid, and now he's going to get paid, so then that's not lishma anymore. And if it's not lishma, he won't be able to affect any curse, chas v'sholem, on the Jewish people. But again, it's a strange thing again. So they understand the difference here. The first time he was going to do something lishma, and because he was going to do a lishma, the curse could have taken effect. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, no, the Jewish people are blessed, and you can't do that. The second time, when it came with the money, so then HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you can go. He never gave him permission to curse the Jewish people, but you can go because he would not be doing it lishma. Does anyone have any comments on this pshat, or is it?
But did he curse the people? Did he ultimately curse the Jews?
No, he never did. He didn't. We remember.
Did.
No, Ernie. So in the morning you have in the beginning of the davening, you say Ma toivu elecha Yaakov mishkan esecha Yisrael, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to curse. He wanted to curse Klal Yisrael, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed his words, and he made him say one of the most beautiful things. And we have it. We all start our davening every morning with it. It's beautiful. How beautiful are the tents of Yaakov. Because what happened? The Medrash tells us, Ernie, it's a good thing you brought that up. The Medrash tells us that when he was standing on the mountaintop looking down at Klal Yisrael, he saw that all of the tents of Klal Yisrael were set up on a diagonal. They were diagonally set up from one row to the next. And they did it like that because it's tznius. Because of modesty. So someone can look into the other tent to the other one because they were on an angle. You couldn't see what was going on, and they saw that. So that's why he said, "Ma toiva oilecha Yaakov." What?
Right, I see, I understand.
Well, how beautiful are the tents of Yaakov, Mishkan and Sechi. Oh, wow. Okay, but look. So what's the significance of this parsha? The significance is how we see how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always protecting Klal Yisrael. This is the only time we actually see something in the Torah where we have no sign of it at all. You know, when Avraham Avinu had his things going on, and Yitzchak, the Torah gave us all of the preview, told us about it. When Yaakov Avinu had his dealings with Lavan, all of that stuff, the Torah gave us all the details of that. All the details. But when it came to this, it's fascinating, nobody knew of it. Nobody knew of it. And if HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't tell it to Moshe, we never would have known about this. This whole story we would never have known. So I'd like to suggest to say that the same way, and this is perhaps the most profound lesson we could learn from this parsha, is the fact that to recognize that it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chvoidei v'atzmai all the time, that's overlooking and protecting Klal Yisrael from all of the monsters that there are in the world. There are a lot of monsters all the time. And we know from our enemies. I mean, I know that I think, David, you told me that there's a video of the Hamasniks, how they say they don't understand how every time it's not for nothing they say, with their missiles that they have technology, and they have they could set them out to go to a certain place and so on, and they do that, and they do it with precision. But every single time it never works. It never works. So who knows best who's protecting HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Our enemies know better perhaps than we do, because they see what they know what they want to do to us all the time, and they see how HaKadosh Baruch Hu foils their plans on a regular basis. Baruch Hashem, what a chesed Hashem that there is. It's unbelievable. It's mamish unbelievable. But we see this amazing lesson how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is really protecting us. And we see it from this parsha the most, I think. Does anyone want to say anything different than that? Do you see it in any other place where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is really looking out for us when we had no inkling, we had no idea, we were encamped, we were living our life, we were enjoying the Anani Yakovite, we were enjoying the water from the be'er. Now again, at this point, with the bear was again now from Miriam had passed away. Moshe Rabbeinu was the schus of Moshe Rabbeinu that we had the bear, that we had the well, and we had the water in the desert at this time, right? And we had the mun was always with the schus of Moshe Rabbeinu. Aharon passed away also, but we had the Anania covered with the schus of Moshe Rabbeinu. And we spoke about that last week. What is it? Why? So then, why wasn't it that if Moshe Rabbeinu could have been the one to provide the Anania covered, and Moshe Rabbeinu in his schus, he could have provided the water, and in his schus we would have the mun. So why wasn't it that way? So we said because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives over, the schus, and he shares it. So Miriam HaNeviah, that she was so careful with the water, how she put Moshe Rabbeinu in the water, how she and what she did, and she looked after him. And then she saw when Baspari picked up that little teva, and then she was right there to suggest who would be able to nurse Moshe Rabbeinu, because he wouldn't nurse from any of the wet nurses of Egypt. He didn't want to, because he understood that those lips that we're going to nurse, we're going to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the later years. And how can these lips that would talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how can they be nursing from a lady that's a mitzvah, an Egyptian woman that's a goita? How would it be? All right, so you see this. You see all these amazing ideas in the parsha, in all of these parshas. how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mamish protecting us. We had no idea. He wanted to do so much damage to Klal Yisrael, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there, and we always have to remember that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always behind the scenes. And we should never worry what's going on with the politics. We should never worry what's going on with anything in the world, finance or anything, because it's really all it's Hashem. And it's upon us to always remember and to hold strong with our emunah. The holy Noam Elimelech, the Rebbe from Lezhensk, right? The Noam Elimelech, he's a very famous Rebbe. His brother was the Rebbe of Zushya, right? So every Shalosh Shuddis, he would tell his followers like this. He said, at the end of time, he said it's going to be an example like this, but there's going to be a rope that goes from all the way in Shemayim, all the way down to the earth. And he said, and that rope is the Chevel of Emunah. That's the rope of Emunah. Right? And he said, and the Jewish people are going to be hanging on to this rope, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to want to see who are the true Jews and who are the true Maminim. So what's HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to do? On the top, he's going to give the rope a little shake. He's going to give it a little shake. Now you know what happens if it's a very high, long rope, and you move it a little bit on the top, the reverberations on the bottom are very, very great, and you feel them a lot. So that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to do, and that's what we see Hashem is doing now. Everyone's holding on with their emunah, right? We had the corona, we had all these things and everything. So those that are holding on with their emunah, some people fall off, chas v'shalom, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to see who's going to be the ones holding on in the end. And we know the same way when it was in Mitzrayim, that it said v'chamushim olu b'Mitzrayim, right? So Rashi says v'chamushim. It means there's two pshatim on it, right? One pshat is that we were armed when we went out of Mitzrayim. But the other pshat is that v'chamushim means it was 1/5. 1/5 of the Jewish people were the ones that actually left Mitzrayim. It's a fascinating idea. So we have to realize that no matter what we see going on in the world today, and as crazy as it seems, we just have to recognize that it's only HaKadosh Baruch Hu testing who's going to hold on to the rope of Emunah, who's going to be there at the end, at the finish line, to greet Mashiach Tzidkenu. And that's what we hope that we will be doing, and that's why we study these things, and to prepare us for what's coming any moment now, Chevra. Anyone want to say any comments on this idea, these questions? No? Ernie's okay?
I'm okay.
Wow, everyone's, Yaakov is okay too. Wow, this is amazing.
It sounds like it's it's very good to hear those words today.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, thank you, everyone.
Always appropriate, but especially today.
Yeah, well, listen, that's what we have to do. We have to be mechazik each other. That's all. That's what it's about.
That's it.
Chizuk. We all need chizuk. Oh, thank you. Okay.